Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon, and this is the Breaking Free Show, and I have missed you all. I've been on a little vacation for the last couple of weeks, and it really is great to be back. This show kind of grounds me, and along with you, I am always different every time I get together here, and every time I have a guest on, I change. And so this is like my breeding ground, the place where I come to learn and grow and to share with you. And I appreciate your time, and I know it's valuable. So I always want to offer the most, heartwarming, heartfelt shows filled with wisdom and love and all kinds of stuff. So I want to say good morning to Amnon. Hello there. You doing okay? I hope he's okay. He's busy over there. Are you all right?
I'm fine. I'm just checking things.
Is everything working okay?
Everything is working.
Perfect. All right. So, every year I have a very, very special guest come on my show. And every year my mom, Gloria, my mommy, comes on the show and just shares something. We talk about something incredible. And today is the day that my mom is here to join me, which I'm really excited about. And it was funny because this morning, when we were on our way over here, she said to me, what are we going to talk about? I said, I'm not sure yet. She said, and she just started to laugh. And she said, okay. So she was like ready for anything. And then in the car coming over here, she starts to laugh. And I said, what are you laughing about? She says, I'm thinking about some things. I said, what are you thinking about? She says, I'll tell you later on the air. So touche, she got me. So with that, I want to introduce all of you who have never met my mother before. I want to introduce Gloria to you. And for those of you who have met my mother before, here she is again, back by popular demand, Gloria. Da-da!
And I'm delighted and happy beyond words to be here with Marilyn and Amnon. And it was time. It's been a long time, and I missed you all, just like Marilyn does. And so I'm in for a treat and a surprise. Can't wait, Marilyn.
Here we go. So happy to have you, Mom. It's always enlightening when you're here, and I feel very fortunate to have my mother the way she is. I mean, I can tell her anything. I can talk to her about anything. I can get mad about things, angry about things. I can just be myself, and she loves me no matter what. And she's been a great role model for me in my life. She's, it's interesting. I'm a mother, right? And so I have sons and daughters, and I'm all about, things being the best they can be for them and giving them curfews and all of those things. I never had a curfew. So when I give my stepchildren a curfew, I've never had a curfew. I never had that in my life. My parents never gave me a curfew, and they never said, be home at a certain time. We just knew to be home at a certain time. My parents never did that, right? You never gave us a curfew.
Well, we trusted your integrity and your choices, and it never came to being because of that. And you were never a problem in that regard. So I don't think I could be a parent today.
No? Why?
It's more difficult. But my mother said the same thing when I was growing up. She said, I wouldn't want to be a mother today.
Really?
With teenagers. And you just go with the times. And that's what it comes to.
And it's interesting because sometimes I take a look, and I don't want to be a mother today with babies and having to face some things that, like, I know my daughters and my children, my sons are going to face having children. So it's all very interesting. I want to say to everyone out there, this is a real kickback, laid-back show, and I would love to hear from all of you. So anytime you have the impulse to call either Gloria or me, please feel so desired to do that, and just pick up the phone and call 919-518-9773, or you're more than welcome to Skype in with us on computers, that's plural, 2K Voice. So with that, I thought, I want to take a look at what some of the people are saying on the chat. So they're saying hello to each other. No, they're saying, I look marvelous. Thank you very much. They're saying, my mother looks marvelous. Thank you very much. And it's going to be a great show. So one of the things I want to do, and I want to remind all of you out there, if you're listening and this is maybe your first time, to please join in on our chat. You can sign your name at the bottom, right to the right of our little video, and join in on the conversation. We have some lovely people there, some very dear friends, and please join in and get to know everybody. So I love quotes, and my mother is someone that I can talk to about, as I said, anything, and she's real insightful and has an opinion about things for sure. So I thought it would be really terrific to pick a couple of quotes that she and I can discuss together. So she saw the first one, but she hasn't seen the others. So she's going to hear them exactly the same time you do. So one of the things that I honor in my mother, and we all do, my children do, her grandchildren, all of them, great-grandchildren. She has how many? How many great-grandchildren?
8.
8 and one coming, right? Mm-hmm. And they love her. They love their Gigi. Okay? They all look at her as Gigi. So my mother has aged beautifully, which has been a lesson for me in watching my mother take on life, take on age beautifully. Here's a vibrant woman who still, is painting her nails 10 times a week to make sure it's not chipping, using blue on her nails. Show everybody your nails. They're blue. Her toes are the same color.
Last week was green.
Last week was green. Today it's blue. My little
toes as well.
Toes as well. And her hair, it all matters. And that's one of the things that I've learned about my mother. So here's a quote. You can't help getting older, but you don't have to get old. So what does that mean, Mom?
It means everything. It means me.
Okay,
it spells me.
Meaning?
Well, I don't dwell on my age as far as numbers. I accept it and I go on because I don't feel old, and I don't want to feel old. I want to stay the way I am forever.
I think you're going to do that.
I'm trying very hard to.
So what do you do, Mom, to stay so young? And what does that feel? I mean, you're not growing old. What do you do not to grow old?
I'm active. I go to the gym. I've gone to the gym probably for 40 years.
Oh, I think longer than that.
45 years, maybe even 50 years. And I enjoy it tremendously. If I don't go, I miss it. This morning I did my exercise on my own, didn't go to the gym, but enjoyed doing it at home because it's become a part of my life, my everyday life. And it will always be. As long as I can physically continue, I will. And I hope Marilyn will too, because my children have followed my footsteps in that regard, health-wise, and my grandchildren as well. And
you eat well.
I eat well. I cook well.
She does. She's a great cook. But she really does. I mean, even now that my father has passed away, even at home now, when she's here visiting now, she cooks for herself at night. I mean, I'll call her and what'd you have? She had a piece of fish. She had salad. What else?
Broiled chicken, fruit. I love salad.
She'll have a little glass of wine sometimes.
Oh, yes. That I enjoy. A little dessert within reason.
What do you mean within reason?
I just feel like having something sweet. So I can take a quarter of a piece of Danish, and it satisfies me, and I go on. I don't gorge myself with sweets. I enjoy it when I feel like having it. And if I don't feel like having it or don't have the desire, I can just do without it.
Good. Anything else?
With limitations.
With limitations. So she's learned to... Okay, so we have a caller, right? Hello?
Hello, it's Chris.
Hey,
Hi, Marilyn.
Hey,
Hi,
Chris.
Gloria. Hi, Amnon.
Hi,
How are
Chris.
you all?
We're good.
Okay, so I said I was going to have a question for you.
Okay.
And my friend here on chat, Suziani, also had a similar idea. And we're wanting to know, we know Marilyn, she's strong-willed, she's smart, she's zesty and spicy, and she's strong-willed and she stands by her convictions. And so this is Marilyn as the adult that we know her to be, but we are just wanting to know, what was she like as a little girl?
Is that for me or my mother?
Well, I'd be curious to know, Marilyn, what your perspective is, and then also your mom, because moms, now that I'm a mom, I have my own perspective of my kids and the kind of people that they are, but they also have their very own ideas. So how about we hear it from both of you?
You want to start?
I'll start.
All right, she'll start.
Marilyn hasn't changed. She just grew some.
I grew some.
She hasn't changed. She's Marilyn, the way she was born, the way she is today.
I have to ask what that looks like because how does that look like today? I mean, what does that mean? How was
You're
I?
a beautiful grown woman,
Right.
determined, bright.
Was I like that as a child?
Yes. You knew what you wanted when you wanted it. And you stuck to your convictions. And just like you do today. But now I don't have to concern myself.
What does that mean?
Well, you're your own person now.
But what do you mean by concern yourself? What did I do wrong things?
Sure, you did wrong things in growing up.
Like being strong, did I do wrong things?
Yeah.
Like
yes. What? Oh,
Yeah.
you don't want me on.
Yeah, we're free here.
Like any child.
We're open.
Yeah, when you wanted to go places, you went. When you wanted to do things, you did it. Regardless. But she had to learn from her own experience. And it took a long time, and maybe some things never were learned. But that's the way it goes. Trial and error and experience. And sometimes I admire her for it because I'm not always right. She could be right. And when I see it in action, I realize, okay, Matt, you're right and I'm wrong. And if I can admit that, then that's a big part of it.
Chris, what do you think?
Well, I think I'm looking at the chat. There's some follow-up questions, obviously. What was it like when Gloria, there were times I'm sure that you were in awe of a child who's so strong-willed and so self-knowledgeable. But then I'm wondering, what was it like to discipline her? Did you use logical consequences all the time? Or, how do you rein it in, but not squash that strong-willed nature in a child?
It just came.
I don't think she.
I never.
She would yell at me, but they never. I never had
I don't
consequences
remember punishing
like
you.
I didn't have a punish. I didn't go to. No, I can't even think about a punishment. You never punished me.
I didn't tell you to sit on the step and not come down because
No, they never. No,
punishing you.
neither one of my parents ever did that.
I don't ever remember that.
I never had they would get angry, and my father, like we would say, should rest in peace, and he's maybe listening. He would get angry, but they never.
We just went on.
Yeah, we never had a punishment like that. I never was like, you can't go out, or anything like that. Never. I can't think of anything. And it's interesting because when you asked that question, I looked at my mother, and we both were shaking our head like, can't think of anything that I was punished like that. Never. And I did some. And okay, so Suziani is asking, what is the worst time I ever gave my mother? Go ahead.
And do you remember?
Which part? Which one?
Well, maybe you remember one that I forgot. So
the truck? We're talking the truck?
Yes.
The truck. Go
That's
ahead.
number one.
Go ahead, share it, because it's important. Go ahead.
Well, she was about 23 years old. and that's old enough to make your choices and decisions. She joined some friends. I think they rented. They're hysterical. I would have been hysterical too. And rented a truck. Went to her apartment in Manhattan on 83rd Street. And
I was
3rd
living.
Avenue.
I was living in the city on 80th between First and Second at this point, and I wanted to. I had been down here in North Carolina, and I was on one of the diet programs here in North Carolina, and I wanted to. I got hooked up with some of the not such great people, and I was living in not such a great house, not in such a great neighborhood, not with a lot of great people, and I wanted to live here. And go ahead, Ma.
She came to New York with
This truck and a
these
guy.
people,
Yeah.
emptied her apartment, moved out of it, and said, I had enough of New York. I'm moving to North Carolina.
I came home to Bayside, to my parents' house,
Took her things.
took my things, and left without
And left.
any thought of anything. Not my roommate in New York and what that was going to leave her with. Nothing. I just
She
wanted
left
to go.
her friend with the apartment that she was sharing with her, with all the responsibility, and got into the truck and went to North Carolina. And my husband was ready to get into the car and follow her and bring her back without one question. And I said, leave her alone. Let her do what she has to do. And she did. And from that day forward, she's been in North Carolina and made her own life. And has made her mistakes with it. And has learned from it. And I'm sure in retrospect, she wonders how she could have possibly have done that.
No, I don't.
You don't?
Well, I look back and I think, did I really? But then I look at it and I go, I have that as am I happy I did that? I'm not unhappy. Did I wish I hadn't done it? I don't know, because
Do you wish you hadn't done it that way?
differently. Maybe I wouldn't have wanted to put my parents through that. My
Right.
father was like beside himself. I didn't even know how beside himself he was until my mother even recently told me how crazed he was. I mean, he was like going to take everything I owned away from me. My car, everything. He was furious with me. But I did it anyway, and would I be who I am now or where I am now had I not done it that way? I can't answer that question. I only know that I can't go back and change it. Would I want my children to do things that way? Not necessarily. Would I be as brave as my mother in letting me do that? Would I let them do what they had to do? I don't know. Maybe I have. I don't know. I wasn't thinking about anybody but myself. Now, at times, do we go through that when we're learning? I mean, maybe sometimes we just have to think about ourselves and nobody else in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you're the only one who would know that.
I don't know that. Maybe there are other people out here that can say, I had to do it this way in order to be who I am, to have what I have, to go where I've needed to go. I don't know. Have you ever done anything in your life that nobody was behind, nobody supported?
Never.
Never?
In capital letters.
Oh, I don't think so. You are such a strong woman. How can you say that?
Wait, say that again?
Have you ever done anything in your life that somebody was totally against and you did it anyway?
Oh, yeah, but
Okay,
but not to the extent that you did, moving out of New York City on your own to a place that we were never aware of and never had been to. That was a drastic move in your lifetime. At that time. No, I never did that.
Can I interrupt everybody a second? I just want to say that my cousin Amy is on here.
Oh, is she?
And my cousin Amy says she hasn't seen my mother in 45 years. And she looks so beautiful and sounds amazing. She has such a positive outlook. So my question is, how does she deal with life's disappointments? And let me just preface a little bit, not her question, but just who she is. So my cousin Amy is from Arizona, and her mother, and I'm going to cry, her grandmother, excuse me, her grandmother is my aunt, was my father's sister.
And my sister-in-law.
And my mother's sister-in-law. And when we were little kids, my cousin Amy had 4 sisters, and they came from Arizona into New York City and spent I don't know how many days with me, my brothers, my cousins, all of us got together, and we did New York like I would never forget doing New York as a little kid. And recently, she lives in Washington, D.C. now, and I recently got together with her and her son and my husband, and so anyway, she hasn't seen my mother probably since that day or that time that we were, I don't even know how old I was, maybe 10, 12, 13, I don't know how old she was, but it's been 45 years, so so she wants to know. So it's really nice to know that you're there, Amy, and I welcome you're being there. So she
do too, Amy.
Yeah. So she wants to know, okay, so she wants to know how you deal with life's disappointment. So hold on for that. Chris.
Yeah.
So did you have any other question or any other comment about what we're talking about?
Oh, probably. I think one of the things I was wondering about is, Marilyn, as a mom, how do you parent the same way your mom did you, and dad did you, or do you parent in a totally different style?
Well, say that one more time.
Taking all of the challenges of our modern day aside, do you think you have a lot in common with our parenting style?
Do I have a lot in common with my mother?
In terms of parenting.
Oh, parenting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I did for my daughters. I never even realized I was parenting. I think they just we just lived a certain way, and they got it, and there was a lot of extended family and all of that thing. So to a large degree, I just trusted them. I never questioned them. In fact, there was an instance once when Princess Diana had passed away, and my daughters were having some friends over, and I was going to go to a party. I was divorced at the time, and I was going to go to a party, and I had no problem leaving them at home to, with their friends. And I remember this time because it was when Princess Diana died, and my friend turned around and she said to me, "You can't go. You need to stay home with them. You can't go to a party now. This is you can't leave them with friends." And I totally trusted them. But I stayed home, and all they did with their friends was pray to Princess Diana and her death. And I'm like, I could have left, but it was really a great moment. So with my children, I did that. With my stepchildren, it's been a little different. However, my inclination is not to go there. My inclination is not to overparent. My inclination is to be more calm and peaceful, but I get caught up in some of the things with my stepchildren, but I do think that I have more of my mother in me as far as parenting, as far as doing for my children, being with my children, all of my children, my stepchildren as well. What would you say?
Definitely. You treat them all as one in that regard, and I admire you for it, because it's not an easy chore, but it's all in one.
Yeah,
and one
you do
for
too.
all. Yeah?
My mother does the same thing. My daughter Alexandra, she'll call my mother. They'll go out for lunch. My stepdaughter, they love it. Everybody talks about her like grandma. She's grandma to everybody.
And I adore them sincerely from my heart. I love them dearly.
Yeah. So I would say in that regard, I'm very much like my mother in those ways. I think, in what way am I not like you? That would be an interesting question.
Cooking.
Oh, that's funny. In what way am I not?
Don't ask.
Oh my goodness.
We'll keep it in the family.
In all everybody's ears. I could cook.
Did you have to ask that, Chris?
That's so funny. I've had Gloria's bundt cake, and it is fabulous.
I can cook. I just choose to do
Not
other
to.
things, not to. Her thing
Right.
was cooking. I mean, and doing those things.
Well, I did everything, really.
And, but you didn't work full time.
No.
So I choose.
have to admit that.
Right. So we've made
It's a-
different choices.
Absolutely.
I can cook, but I choose not to.
And in my day, it wasn't as prevalent for the women to go to work. I have my degree in home economics in teaching, education, in junior high school level. And I said to myself, I have to be home with my children. How can I leave them? There was no daycare. There was nothing like that. The only one I could leave them with was my mother, who was always there for me through thick and thin. But I would never dream of having her come to me and babysit for my children daily. So I chose to stay home. I didn't have to work. I chose to stay home. And then I got so involved with staying home and the routine of being with my children and Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it. So I never broke away from being a stay-at-home mom, and I'm not at all regretful for it. If I had to do it all over again in my world, I would do it the very same way. I'm
Well-
very grateful.
Well-
The rest of the story.
And now the rest of the story. And you asked, what was the rest of that question you asked, Chris? Did you?
Actually, I got so caught up in the story.
Me too. I'm doing my best to listen,
Yes,
but
okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about Gloria's cake, I think.
Oh, I'll make you another one, Chris. I promise.
I think I'm going to take it. I'm creating a new website, and once the website is complete, I'm going to have different things that I really like Oprah's favorite things. Oh, that's what I'm going to call it. Marilyn's favorite things.
That's good.
And one of the things is my mother's cheesecake. Chocolate cake. Excuse me. I'm going to take orders. She makes a chocolate cake, and she makes a pistachio chocolate cake. That.
Oh, I didn't even know about that.
Oh my goodness gracious! So all those things she makes beautiful, and I'm going to have my favorite things, and I'm going to have it on there.
Oh, that's good.
So somebody, let's see, who's asking this? Oh, Suzanne. She's asking. Oh wait, I think I missed a question here. Is Gloria as outgoing as Marilyn? She seems more reserved.
I am.
You're outgoing, but she's finer than me. She's more grace.
I'm more diplomatic.
She's more diplomatic. I'm just going to say it. Right?
I don't know about diplomatic. I don't know if that was
Well,
the
what would you call it?
choice. I come from a different era, maybe. I don't know. I cannot find the words to describe it.
Now, it's
But I
interesting.
am outgoing.
But
It's-
she is. And my grandmother, I mean, my mother's mother wore the brightest red lipstick you could buy. She wore the biggest earrings, the biggest. I wish today I had the costume jewelry that my grandmother wore, because I would be wearing it all the time, and it was just me. It would be always right?
But her approach to anything and everything was just like ours is today, to medicines, to caring for ourselves.
What do you mean as far as medicine?
Well, I mean, she took me to skin doctors. She took me to cosmeticians with peeling creams. I was 15
always,
years
like,
old.
out
She
there.
was always.
I mean, if you can picture, close your eyes, and today you going to this quote unquote quack that does something remarkable with your skin, with your hair, with some kind of alternative medicine, and you go into this building and you go down the staircase and you go into the basement and the chandelier is moving back and forth, and you go into this office of this quack. That was my grandmother.
She wasn't the quack. She went to
to quacks. She would find quacks, and she would use, cucumber things. And
my goodness, she used to peel a cucumber and use the skin as a moisturizer.
Yeah, a remedy.
On my face. Not that it helped all that much, but it helped. So it may have been worse if she didn't do that. She used lemon juice on my hair to make it blonde. What woman in that time was as modern thinking and chancing as she was? And that's where I got it from. That's where I got it from. My mother. I have to thank her. I do all the time, every day of my life.
And she was American born, so
Yep.
I don't know if that made any difference, but she was, I'm going to tell you what, she spoke her mind. It's interesting because we were talking about this. Somebody asked a question last week. Somebody who, I don't remember who it was, asked me a question, or my mother a question, of how I became entrepreneurial, I guess, right? Do you remember that? And I said something about Grandpa?
Oh, yeah. Somebody
asked that question.
About business.
About business, how I got into being in business. And I sat back and I thought, I remember my grandfather, my mother's father, was he was a clothing manufacturer in New York City, along with my uncle, her brother. And I can remember as a little girl, him taking me into the factory. I was there for lunch one day. I don't know, my mother had something to do in the city. Maybe she dropped me off for lunch with my grandfather and my uncle. And I can remember going into the factory with him, and he was this dapper salesman like no other. And maybe I was 5, 6. I was young. And I remember him showing the line of clothing, shirts, whatever, to this whole group of people. And I don't think they were American either. If I can remember correctly, I don't think so. But I remember my grandfather saying, you can have it any way you want it. How do you want it? Something to that regard, like, we can make this up to order any way you want. And that was the turning point for me in how I am as a saleswoman, businesswoman, whatever. I am open, and it's all about you. I will listen to you. I want to help you find what you want. I'm here to listen, not to close any doors, but to keep all the doors open. And that's where that came from. But my grandmother, and you could not put anything over on her. If she did not like something with my grandfather, let me tell you what, she would tell him. And if she didn't do it verbally, she took her elbow and she would go like this. In the middle of anything, she would give him a clop, boy. He would have to be quiet because she didn't like what he was going to say. Clip. So, anyway, I want to, Chris, you have anything else?
Yeah, I think my final question, and then I'll hang up, is Marilyn, if you had to say the one lesson that your mom and dad taught you, the lasting lesson, what is the quintessential lesson that you've brought with you to this day that's guided you?
That's also interesting because after the conversation we had about this entrepreneurial thing, I was thinking about my father because he wasn't what you would call an entrepreneur like today, but my father had tremendous work ethic. And he went to work every day. He rarely got sick. He came home every day. He worked in a thing he didn't like very much. But he had tremendous work ethic. I would say that was one of those things. And the dedication to, you always, no matter what or how angry my father might have gotten, I always knew that he loved me. Always. I never, really questioned his love for me or my brothers. Even though he didn't communicate it the way I would have liked him to have communicated it, I knew by his actions, the things that he would do. When I was a little girl, when we were going to camp, and he would always pick a fight with me, no matter what, wherever I was going to college, wherever I was going, the night before I went anywhere. So that morning, wherever I was going, he wouldn't talk to me, and I wouldn't be talking to him. And he did that all the time, anywhere I went. So, but he always did something else after that. I wouldn't be talking to him, but I could see him crying. When he would take us to the bus stop for camp and we were going to be gone for 8 weeks, I could see him crying. And then I'd be on the bus, and all of a sudden, I don't know, 5 minutes down the road, 15 minutes down the road, when we were leaving to go upstate New York, I would turn, and there would be my mother and my father pulled over to the side of the road, and my father would be out of the car waving, crying. He did that all the time. He always did something like that. So I always knew that I always saw his heart no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that was it. So I want to, and if anybody wants to, huh?
I said, thank you, ladies. I'm going to hang out now.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in, Chris. I see that I think Amy has been being coaxed into calling. So
yes, we're trying. We're trying. Amy, please call in.
919-518-9773. If you are available and you want to call in, we would love to have you call in. And I want to answer Amy's... Huh? Oh, okay. I want to answer Amy's question. Now, where is it? Mom, how do you handle disappointments? Or things that happen in life that are disappointing?
I serve my time.
So what does that mean?
I probably never forget. I just make the best of it up to a point and go on. Because if I can't do anything about it, there's no point in dwelling on it. So I do the best I can do with it as long as I can deal with it. And beyond that, I just go on and say, well, I guess I just have to.
So do you end up doing what you want to do in a lot of cases?
Yes.
So I think that's a big deal.
I did a lot of things that I wanted to do that I didn't get support in doing. But I knew in my heart it was the right thing, not only for me, but for everybody concerned. And I stuck to my conviction. And a lot of things.
So there she said it. That's why I'm how I am, because of her. I blame it on her now. But there were times, I know, that my father was not always easy. I mean, we loved him, and we see him sometimes differently now, obviously, than we sometimes did when he was here. But he was not always easy to change or to make a change. He liked things like the way they were. He didn't want to, invest in change. But my mother always was like out there, like pulling him along, and he would go along fighting. But she did it anyway.
I bought an apartment in Florida. He never saw it. I bought an apartment in West Hampton Beach. He never saw it. And it wasn't until it was completely livable and redecorated that he came to see it. I went myself by plane to each one of these places and bought the apartments myself. And if I look back, I can't believe I had the guts to do it. But I knew in the end it was what he would enjoy, what I would enjoy, and if all the children enjoyed it with us.
Amy is, this is really interesting. Amy is looking for, my cousin Amy says she can't call in as much as she would like to. She's waiting to hear from her daughter, who's looking for a doctor in Miami, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale. Do you know of one? Yes.
Oh, yes, very
Give her
much
the name.
so. Dr. Alan Schwartz, an internist who is a pussycat and the best.
Do you have his number by heart? What is it?
954.
Okay, we're gonna
4997. Wait a minute.
Okay, give us.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, I'm gonna get you the number, but he's wonderful, Dr. Schwartz.
Dr. Alan Schwartz
in Fort Lauderdale. Okay,
he's affiliated with Northridge, with Holy Cross Hospital.
Okay, so we'll take care of that. All right, so moving right along. Anybody else have any questions? Please feel free to
95449.
call in and ask my mother a question about me, or me a question about my mother, or life in general. So I do want to say that my mother, she did not get stuck in the yuck. If she was in the yuck, she didn't stay there. She somehow got out of it. And I have to say that we did team up a lot in getting out of the yuck. I mean, I really was a good support of hers in the yuck, because I would, what?
No, you're
She's
right.
laughing. Why?
That's the truth.
What did I do? Why? What are you laughing? Share it.
I agree with you.
Is-
And I'm shaking my head. I agree with you.
I helped her get out of the yuck a lot. So Amy says, maybe I can make a trip to North Carolina next time she visits. Oh, yes. That would be great. Well, she's going to be here for a couple of months, Amy. Everybody, my mother is going to be here for a couple of months. And if you want office hours, you call her ahead of time, and she's happy to go to lunch or coffee. But I have to come, too. So if anybody listening out there is interested in visiting with my mother, you have to take me along with you.
Or come to Florida. I'd be a gracious hostess there.
So here's a quote. Aging is an inevitable process. I surely wouldn't want to grow younger. The older you become, the more you know. Your bank account of knowledge is much richer. William Holden.
I agree. That's beautiful.
Okay, so what is that? What do you agree with there?
Everything.
Like, what do you think? You getting richer and more knowledgeable?
My knowledge is making me richer. There's no question about that.
Okay.
And that's priceless.
Right.
Can't buy that.
Right.
It's experience.
Right. And you're getting richer as you get older.
Absolutely.
Without
any question.
Without any question. So aging, and you're doing that how? How are you doing that? How are you becoming richer with age?
Just being who I am every day of my life.
And are you different now in growing older?
I think I have more confidence in myself in recent years, which has helped me get richer in the sense that I'm accepting
Like even when
decisions that I make more readily.
So like even when like Daddy died, which was 3 years ago, you mourned, and you still mourn, but you still went on with your life. How did you do that?
How did I do that? Well, first of all, I was very grateful for the life that I had. And I appreciated it to the extent where I was able to accept things. I had my home. I was grateful for that. I was grateful for the things I've done and the places I've been. And I was a very fortunate woman. And I consider myself fortunate today for what was.
So I think, this is interesting. I think my mother was coming from such abundance that when my father passed away, it was a tremendous loss, but she still was coming from abundance. She wasn't coming from, like the poor me attitude. Gratitude is one of the best daily habits one can practice. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So here's one. This is a quote that I brought. Aging is not lost youth, but a new stage of opportunity and strength.
Yeah, there I am.
There you are.
It's the truth.
There you are. That's it. Perfect, right?
Yep. Aging is not. Have your finger over.
Aging is
It's
not
not
lost
lost
but
youth.
right.
But a new stage of opportunity and strength. I agree with you. I'm getting stronger as I get older. Can you imagine what I'll be like when I'm 120?
You think you had it bad when you were a kid? Just wait.
Just
wait till she's 120.
Just
oh my
wait.
gosh,
Till I'm
it's amazing,
120.
right? Here's another one. I found these quotes because I thought they were
Where'd
so
you find them?
online, and I thought they were so
They're
so
just
pertinent
wonderful.
for our conversation today. So nobody grows old merrily by living a number of years. We grow old by deserting our ideals. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul.
It's beautiful, Marilyn.
I'm going to read it again.
I want those quotes.
Okay. Nobody grows old merely by living a number of years. We grow old by deserting our ideals. We grow old by the box, by staying in that comfort zone. That's how we grow old. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul.
Says it all.
I know, it doesn't need any explanation. What do
Nope.
you think?
It's so perfect.
It is.
It's perfect, right?
Perfect and beautiful.
Okay, let's see what people are saying. Gloria, is the phone number 954? Oh, for Dr. Schwartz, 954-491-0500.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yay, Susiani, you landed it.
That's
Perfect.
right.
So Amy, he's wonderful. He's like the good old boy doctor who used to come to the house. He'll even call if you just to say hello, how you doing? And go ahead.
And just tell him you're
Here, go ahead.
a cousin, a
Niece.
Niece.
Let's see. You
Niece.
are her niece, right?
Gloria Lippman's niece. That's all you have to say.
Her mother was your niece. Her mother
It was my sister-in-law.
No, her grandmother
her
was your
grandmother. I'm
sister-in-law.
sorry.
Her mother was your niece.
Right.
So she's your great niece.
Great niece. I'll
Wow.
accept you, whoever you
Wow.
are, Amy.
Wow, there you go. All right. Again, I have, here's another great quote. And one of my passions is, not one of them, but a tremendous passion I have is, of course, listening. And, the ways in which we grow and learn what? Tell him Gloria sent you.
She keeps pushing.
That's exactly right. Tell him, or tell anybody that answers the phone, Gloria sent you.
No, look, the one before that.
Oh, let's see. Tell him, okay, now if only we can set her up with a nice man. Do we know
Oh,
anybody?
my God.
Do we know
I
anybody?
served my time.
Do we know anybody?
Do I know anybody what?
Single in Florida?
Oh, for who?
For Amy's
Amy?
daughter.
Oh, for Amy, I might. What
Well-
age is she?
Amy, how old is she again? Put that in here, okay?
What do you call it when you...
Make
A
a
shidduch. A shidduch.
A matchmaker.
A matchmaker.
Yeah.
A matchmaker.
Sounds better. It's a
Put
shidduch.
put your matchmaker hat on.
Okay, here's one. Oh, I love this. Chris, how often do you use technology like a cell phone, internet, etc.?
Oh, me? Oh, my God.
Go
I
ahead.
wake up in the morning with the iPhone. I go to bed with the playing solitaire
On the iPhone.
on the iPhone.
And now my brother uploaded
oh,
Pandora.
God. Oh,
So
I
she-
love that music.
So I have to tell her to lower it. I told her the other day, could you
I
lower
love
it,
it.
please? Okay, a man would slow Gloria
Last
down,
one.
I think. Oh, have no question.
Last one.
Well,
the
if
last
Herbie
one,
didn't
maybe
slow me
Dr.
down in
Schwartz is single.
63 years, nobody will slow me down.
No, Dr. Schwartz is not her type or
No.
Amy's daughter's type.
Or age.
Or age. He's
Probably.
older.
Oh.
He's more like maybe my age or older than me.
A little older.
A little older. He's just a nice guy. But he's not.
He's a doctor.
He's not for. Huh? He's a doctor. He's a doctor.
And he has a wife. And he has,
And he has a
family.
wife.
And he's a,
All right, stop thinking what you're all thinking. Oh my God. Let's get serious here. Let's see. University of Florida grad, works in Fort Lauderdale. Very pretty. Oh, this is her daughter. Very pretty and petite. We're going to work on this.
How old is she?
How old is she, Amy? Have you? 25. Let's think about it. Somebody have a grandson that's coming to visit?
I'll think about it.
All right, let's
that's
think of it.
for another show.
Okay, here we go. Here's a really great quote. Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt all this fun, but it really is fun, isn't it? Maybe Gloria will have to be a regular. Okay. Education is the manifestation of perfection already existing in man. I'm none.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on. Education is the manifestation of perfection already existing in man.
Already existing in man?
Is the manifestation of perfection already existing in man. What do you think?
I don't think you have to be educated to be...
There's all kinds of education.
That's
Yes.
true. Experience.
That's
Yeah,
what does it.
I mean, there's all kinds of education. It's the manifestation of perfection. So,
Yes, I would say it is.
What?
Because you're
What would you say?
generalizing when
It
you
can be.
say that.
What do you
It
say?
can be. It can be.
It can be what?
It can be the manifestation of perfection.
It is. Any kind
It
of
is,
education
yes.
is the
with
manifestation
it.
of perfection
Yes.
that we already have.
It can be perfection in anything.
Anything
any
that we
field,
learn,
yeah.
that we allow ourselves to learn,
Yeah.
is perfection.
And what we do with it is perfection in regard to anything that we do, we choose to do.
Okay. He has 42 years experience. He must be in his 60s. Okay. Thank you. And then here's another one. Gloria needs to be a regular. I told you that after the first time you had her on her show. Okay. So, all right. I have a question. Can Gloria adopt me?
Can I hurry? I have so many.
Oh my goodness. Yes. You can be adopted.
The more the merrier.
The more the merrier. There's plenty of love to
I
go
was
around.
just
If
gonna
all
say
I have
that.
to do is put on Facebook with my mother has a page on Facebook, but only so that she can really go to Facebook and communicate with everybody. And people just she is Grandma Gloria to every one of our children's or my niece's friends up in New Jersey. Everybody calls her Grandma Gloria.
You're creating a problem. Look at the last
You and your husband just
The
sell
last
it. Oh, Chris too. Of course.
She wants first.
Okay. Well, come on. Everybody can be adopted. So, Chris, Marilyn, you and your husband just celebrated your wedding anniversary. Gloria, you were married for many years. A question for you both. What are the keys to a long and happy marriage? Recently, I heard the quote, "A happy wife is a happy life." Do you think this is true? A happy wife is a happy life.
A happy wife is a happy life.
Well, we're going to ask a man in a minute.
You make it happy.
So
It's not just a happy life. You have to work at it. You have to
So-
do things to make it
so-
happy. It doesn't happen.
right, but can it be, regardless whether you have to make it, can it be a happy husband, a happy life? A happy wife, a happy life?
Depends what your goal is. If you want to if you're the one who's happy and your husband isn't, then you do have to
Can
work
one person
at
be
it.
happy when one person isn't?
Up to a point, I don't think so.
Not for a happy life.
Not for a happy life. Takes two to tango.
So if you're living with somebody who's miserable, unhappy, can you be happy?
No.
If
not
somebody
all
you're
the
living
way.
with is miserable.
You may be happy if you do what you want to do, but it's not a happy life.
Yeah, you just find another way of
Yeah.
living, another life
Interesting.
that adds happiness to yours.
Interesting.
But I mean, yeah, you have to have, if you want a happy life, and you're a man, you have to have, your wife needs to be happy for sure.
Right.
You have to make her happy, and you do
Can-
have to
but-
work at it
right.
hard.
It's work. It takes
It's a
work.
two-way street.
But can you be happy when somebody else isn't happy?
Depends on your, I would think it depends on your own character. If, I mean, some people don't care about others. Okay, yeah, I got married. I'm married to her. She's got money, so I'm going to stay with her. But I don't care what she does, kind of thing. I mean, some people do think like that.
And some
Right.
people are happy doing
Yeah.
their own thing.
Right.
That's their relationship. It's established that way. And they go on
I mean,
that
look at
way.
Europe, France. I mean, all the men had mistresses, and everybody knew. And they go out, they do their thing, they come back home, and the wife is there. I
A
don't know
lot
how
of
she's
people
happy,
today
but
are the same way.
I have to think about this because I don't know if you can isolate yourself enough to be happy in spite of somebody else.
it's because that's.
Or is
you,
it a choice?
Because it's you. You can't think that. I can't think that way. But if you look
Yeah.
out there, people could be like that, and there are people like that. That to them, that's. Oh, what do you mean? I can be happy without my wife.
Is it
being
mind
happy.
over manner?
I don't think
No.
they think like this. I think it's the way they grow up, this company they kept for life. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't think that they're happy, but they are happy in their own way.
In their own way. That's
You
they're happy
make,
in
I
their
mean,
own.
you can make your own
You
happiness.
make your happiness.
I mean, you make your own happiness regardless,
with or without.
with or without.
Right.
With that. But I don't know if a happy, if I could truly say a happy wife is a happy life. I mean, if I would say a happy person is, you know.
It's pleasanter to be with someone who's happy,
Right.
and the environment is happier, and that's part of it.
And if you can make your wife happy, that means that you are happy and you are doing what you should be doing, or what we say you should be doing. So
Right.
that means that both sides are
Right.
okay.
Right.
And at that
Right.
point, it can be it.
Right. And you
It is
can't
a happy
make
life.
anybody happy. I mean, you can't make.
Yes,
I can't
you
make.
can.
You can make somebody happy. I
Yes.
can make you happy.
Yeah,
I
why
can't
not?
make you happy if you don't want to be happy.
Oh boy, that would be a bad. I mean, forget this world if that was true.
You can't
Of course
make
you
any.
can.
You can make somebody happy.
course
Sure
you
you
How
can.
do you make
And
somebody?
gestures and
You can
things that
change them. How
I
can
believe
you
so.
change
I believe
somebody?
that you just keep on at it, and you make them feel wanted and pretty and great and whatever.
Whatever
Just
you
like
do.
But
can't
they
you
have
make-
to feel it.
No, can't you make somebody feel really bad, and bring somebody to the point where they?
But they already have to feel bad.
I don't know. See, that's the thing.
No, it can be just something that you say that can make somebody feel
Yeah.
bad.
Right.
And
But
then
if you do it again and again, that's your way of life. You're going to drive them to the ground. Yeah,
I think it takes two people to make happiness.
absolutely.
Well,
Or to make even the children happy in that environment.
I don't know if you can make somebody happy. You can give some. You can pay a compliment. They can be happy in a moment. But I don't know if you can ultimately make somebody happy if.
Well,
if they're
that's how
not
they
happy.
see happiness, man.
Yeah,
Some
but
people see happiness.
But
People
the-
see happiness in different ways.
it's my choice. If you pay me a compliment, you can't make me like the compliment. I have to want to like it. I have to want to take it in.
well,
I can't. If you can say anything nice you want, but if I'm not ready to take it in, I'm not ready to take it in.
too bad.
All right. So we have 2 minutes left.
Oh, that's all.
That's it. And I mean, I don't want this to end. I know a lot of you out there don't want this to end either. But we're going to have to do this again for sure because it's been a blast for me. So, Mom, final words. And it doesn't have to be about me.
I like the quote that you had, the first one. Go back to that. I feel very strongly about that.
Okay, you can help.
You can help getting
You can't
old.
help
You
getting-
can help getting older, but you don't have to get old. And that's my motto.
And that's her
And
closing
may
statement.
I want as long as I live and live as long as I want. Good? Combination?
Perfect.
Now,
Perfect.
these are quotes.
These are quotes. These are quotes. And that's your closing remark.
Love every minute of it.
And you can find her at my house. She has, or on Facebook. Friend me, make her your friend on Facebook and send her a message that you are Marilyn's friend. You've listened to the show, whatever. You've heard her on the Breaking Free show. And she is Gloria Lipman, L-I-P as in Peter, M-A-N.
And I am adopting you as my friend.
And she's going to adopt you as her friend. And she will talk to you on Facebook. That will be perfect, right?
Lovely.
All right. And with that, this has been a pleasure. It's been just so much fun for me having my mom here and having us, all of us, you, me, my mom, Amnon, Chris, everybody on the chat, Michelle, my cousin Amy, Suziani. I see a Kathy, and I'm wondering if this is some Kathy that we know, but I'm not sure. But welcome, Kathy, and everybody out there that's been listening and enjoying this with us. Thank you so very much for being here. We will be here next week for sure. And I Love you. Please write me above my head. You will see my email. Make me your friend on Facebook. And be on the lookout for MarilynShannon.com, my new website. You can go there. It's up. It's running. It needs a little editing, but you can see it anyway, and you can let me know what you think. So with that, everybody, have a wonderful day. Mom. Mwah!
Love you and everybody else.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day. It's been fun.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, and if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.